Hi there. If you're watching this, chances are you just clicked on a word cloud that looks something like this. However, this is static text, and what you clicked on is a little more interactive. My name is James May, and I'm a professor on the East Campus of Valencia. Over the last few years, I've had the opportunity to work with Endowed Chair funds and do a variety of things for my students. What follows is a showcase of some of the things I've learned and developed, and as you watch, if you see something you're interested in, little things will pop up and give you the chance to go check them out. So feel free to explore. Interactive YouTube is one of the tools I use with my students. Enjoy.
Let's start with the term mashup. What you are viewing now is no longer regular video like the flip video introduction you were watching a few seconds ago. This is actually a screencast. In other words, I have recorded what happens on my computer screen and synced that with my voice. I often mash up different types of content to create learning activities. For example, when I was presenting on some of these technologies at the NISOD conference in May, I was able to interact with my students at Valencia all the way from Texas by sending an instructional mashup. This year, I also purchased a high-speed scanner so that students could upload assignments digitally into the online component of my courses. I used a mashup to teach them how to use this new technology. Please note the closed captioning. I love that these new technologies make it easier for teachers to be sensitive to the needs of a wide variety of students. What you are looking at now is part of that mashup. It's part of that training video. The video footage was shot in Valencia's East Campus Writing Center and combined with the screencast captured on that particular computer. I didn't even have to download any programs to the computer. I simply screen jellied the video and tweeted it to myself so that I could edit it and put the entire video back together later when I was in my office. Let me show you for a second just how easy it is to screencast. Here I'm going to screenjelly.com. I click on the record button. It gives me a countdown, and I am recording the screen. I can go to Microsoft Word and show a student how to do something. And then I can tweet it, Facebook it, email it, or send the video to them in some way, and that's it. That's all you have to do.
All right, let's look at some other tricks. Thinking back, I guess one of the first tricks I learned was Google Docs, which is really changing the way teachers and students share information. For example, I share a variety of Google documents with my students by simply giving them links to various documents and surveys. I am able to share documents, presentations, spreadsheets, and surveys with my students without having to worry if they can afford the newest version of more expensive software. I also use Google Forms to get my students to ask questions and keep them thinking outside of the classroom. One of the tricks I use is called Teach Me, Ask Me, which essentially is a survey that I have my students fill out after class. They have the choice of either teaching me back what they've learned in class or asking me questions about things they didn't get. They can take this survey on their computers or even on their phones as they're walking out of my classroom. What is cool is that all the responses populate into a spreadsheet that I can quickly scan to get feedback about how class went. I can also use the questions they asked to create a clarification session at the beginning of our next class period together.
Another trick I've learned relates to the power of interactive text. Because of hypertext and Web 2.0 technologies, text now can easily include embedded glosses of words, sound bites, videos, quizzes, and more. Yes, that is correct. I add interactive quizzes into my texts so that I know that my students have done the required reading, and so that I can focus their attention on key aspects of that reading. What you were looking at here is a SCORM module, which is simply a fancy name for something that automates everything I was just talking about. Because I teach English as a second language, vocabulary and cultural background knowledge can often be problematic. The other day, the term captain's log confused some of my students in an assignment, and I was easily able to embed a YouTube video to activate their background knowledge. Another trick I use to make reading easier for students is to use existing digital corpora, which is basically a fancy word for a body of text, but I use a special corpus website to parse reading passages for difficult vocabulary. This way, I can easily know what vocabulary needs to be glossed for my students. For example, because of corpus linguistics, we know that about 90% of the vocabulary found in academic texts comes from only 2,570 words. This particular website can parse any text and give me information about what words students might know and they might not know. In other words, which words should be glossed. I can then use other tools that are Web 2.0 based to make that gloss in just a few seconds.
I could go on to show you how VoiceThread allows students to carry on asynchronous video conversations about anything I can post. Or I could show you how students can freely store all of their papers in digital clouds rather than purchasing external drives. Or
I guess that's enough for now. I think you can understand what I'm trying to say. Long story short, Endowed Chairs have had a profound effect on me and my students. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, thanks.